Mombasa hoye! Muko tayari?
Like hiyo pesa ni really inapeanwa kwa sababu almost 98% of the people I know in Kisauni hakuna mwenye ashaipata. Hakuna.
Ladies and gentlemen, your president William Ruto thought he would get away with the Nyota Fund lies.
Na utatoka hapa leo na pesa zako 25,000 ya kwanza.
For weeks, it looked like any other scandal that would actually fade away quietly.
Nyota si Nyota. Ruto si Ruto.
Just a man perambulating around the country, dishing out money. Mr. Money, Bwana Mpesa, Mr. Mula. But his 40th day has finally come. The lies are getting exposed. Hard questions are being asked. Ruto, for the first time, is being forced to defend himself internationally.
NEOTA program.
This thing is rubbish. Let me tell you for free. It's a bribery method to make sure that young people vote for this government again.
Now, tonight, we expose the Nyota Fund, the World Bank's real reaction, and why the biggest embarrassment is not even coming from Washington, D.C. It's coming from Kenyan vigilant youth. If you love this kind of content, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Now, let's get to the video.
Let's begin by looking at the NEOTA project, which was launched by the government at some time this week.
In late 2025, President William Ruto rolled out the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement. Hey, NEOTA, that's a long word. A World Bank funded program. The World Bank gave 229 million. That is equivalent of that billion Kenya shillings. And the promise was clear. 20,000 to 50,000 given to 800,000 youth aged between 18 to 35 years. No repayments. Just start your business and change your life.
Na sahi nikienda hii pesa yote naeka kwa bike ili niweze kufanya delivery. Nashukuru sana Mr. President.
Okay. The official line was innovative, inclusive, transparent.
NEOTA is an innovative, inclusive, and transparent initiative.
The World Bank's director, that is Nyota Fund, called it a lifeline.
The sole objective is to support Kenya to create more and better jobs, and we'll continue to do so.
And on paper, it sounded perfect until you skiza the ground.
Sijui ati 92,000 nani youth wamepata hiyo pesa ni kina nani?
Na utatoka hapa leo na pesa zako 25,000 ya kwanza.
50,000 Kenya shillings. In 2026, Kenya. That is not seed capital. Seed capital is the money you can use to start a business, by the way. That is, at best, 2 months of rent in a decent estate or 1 box of stock from Kamukonji. Then, when you add the licenses, the county fees, the electric bills, police harassment, in 3 to 6 months maximum, that business is dead. You see, this is a known statistics. It's a known fact that 80% to 90% of Kenyan micro businesses collapse within the first year. You might want to ask why? Simple. There's no money circulating in the economy. There are high taxes. There's zero demand because everyone else is also broke.
So many businesses are closing. Let me show you something. This shop, I've seen it morph into, probably in the last 5 years, this could be maybe the 3rd or the 4th business in the same space.
You see, the government brags that the GDP has actually grown and that the inflation has fallen. But on ground, the economy is on life support. Yet, the same government that killed the youth in June 2024 and June 2025 wants to sell the illusion that 50,000 Kenya shillings will fix what bullets broke. It's embarrassing.
What NEOTA is doing is basically campaigning for the government or the president. I mean, Trevor, in 2026, Kenya Kwanza was elected in 2022, whereas NEOTA ilikuwa wapi?
And let's be clear about one thing. Out of 100 applicants, only 10 of them will actually get the money. The rest, they get nothing. But those 10 who have gotten the money, they are the ones who are going to be paraded on TV.
Mambo ni aje? Vipi? Mambo? Very good. Habari yako? Unaitwa nani? Sasa, pesa iko?
Pesa iko.
Hebu ni Confirmed. You have received 22,000 at 11:41.
The 9% of them are actually going to be ignored.
Almost 98% of the people I know in Kisauni, hakuna mwenye ashaipata.
It's a classic narrative management, or call it PR.
Nilikuwa na ujauzito yote ambao nimeapply hiyo Nyota.
Wakati uliapply Nyota ulikuwa umembeba.
Elewa.
Kumshika naona anakusumbua.
Now, if you're a youth and you actually applied for the Nyota Fund money and you feel like your friends already got the money and you didn't get, please comment below, because the reality is that is the majority of the people.
Kama tulitoka nje, serikali ya William Ruto ambayo saa hii mnafurahia pesa ya William Ruto. Ruto aliua majenzi. Kwa nini hatuangalii mbele?
Let's go back. The month is June. The year is 2024. The Gen Z rise up against finance bill. Hundreds of them are killed, shot in the head, shot in the chest, and even shot at the back. A year later, June 2025, the massacre continues. More blood. Names still echo. Names like Bridget Njoki Wainaina, who was only 12 years old, and Ian Opango, who was 17 years. And dozen more that we don't have to mention here. Their crime was just demanding a better Kenya.
Where is my grandson? Na Ruto ndio. Ishmael. 21 years old. Yeah. Why is he? Ruto ndio alifanya hiyo maneno yote. Ruto utanipatia huyo mtoto ama unipatie wako? Si wako umeficha.
Now, barely 18 months later, the same president is handing 50,000 Kenya shillings and calling himself a youth messiah.
Program yenye inaendelea.
Usikie kumshika naona anakusumbua.
You see, I love what has happened this week because the hashtag Ruto must go has come back to Twitter and it is now stronger than ever. And it's not because of Nyota Fund alone, but because people are saying we will not forget.
We can never forget why we started this war against this regime. I want you to see at this picture and I want to remind you that the guy in orange was carrying his dead brother, giving him one last march, heroic march after he was shot dead for showing up to demonstrate, which is our democratic right. Huyu ni brother yake amebeba na mshikilia, alishikilia hapo kwa kichwa.
You cannot murder a generation and then try to buy their silence with breadcrumbs from the same World Bank loan that helped fund the system that they were protesting against.
Hiyo wakati yote Ruto alikuwa anatunyanyasa. Kwa nini hakukuwa anaona kuna kitu fulani anaweza fanya?
Amid all this backlash, you might want to ask yourself, what is the World Bank saying? Nothing. Nothing they are saying is actually pleasing to our ears, because the last thing we heard them say is that they were praising the project. They were saying that the program is so good. They said that they were proud.
And that's why we at the World Bank wanted to support you.
But why wouldn't they be? The money is working exactly as designed. They lend money to Kenya. Kenya pays the interest. Kenya uses the money for political theater, and then Kenya borrows again to service the old debt.
Nimewaambia Kenya for the last 8 months imekopa 1 trillion and we are borrowing around 4 billion shillings every day.
You see, Kenya's debt to IMF and World Bank is actually crashing. Over that 8% of revenue now goes to interest alone. Billions have disappeared before, like who doesn't know the NYS scandal, the Aror and Kemwarer. There is also the Eurobond mystery. World Bank knows this. This is not something that they do not know about. They know it very well. They know this history. They know the government record. But what they're interested about is only the loan repayment. That is what comes first, always.
And we at the World Bank will continue to support you in this journey. Asante sana.
This money is not development aid. This is a profit machine dressed up as compassion.
There is something deeply unsettling about the spectacle we are witnessing across the country in the name of launches.
You see, I saw that World Bank official in Malindi talking about jobs. But their loans have repeatedly triggered the very crisis that they now claim to solve. Austerity, high taxes, protests, bullets. Then they come and lend you more loans to fix the youth unemployment.
The president, the deputy president, cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, senior government officials, an entire security apparatus, Advance teams, motorcades, fuel, hotels, allowances, logistics, all crisscrossing the country. To do what exactly? To disperse 22,500 shillings to individual Kenyans.
They can see Ruto using the Nyota Fund as the pre-2027 vote bribery. They see the selective handouts. They see the blood on the streets, and still they defend it. Because once the money leaves their accounts, they don't care what happens next, as long as Kenya keeps paying the interest. That is their ultimate concern.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership and support for the NEOTA program.
So no, the World Bank did not embarrass Ruto. They emboldened him. The real embarrassment is ours if we accept this.
Saa hii ni Gen Z. Ndio kuna kitu ambaye anatafuta hapo. Kura hizi vitambulisho mmechukua majuzi. Hiyo ndio lengo ya William Samuel Ruto.
50,000 Kenya shillings will not heal an economy in cardiac arrest. It will not bring back the dead. It will not create millions of jobs.
And how many of you will be able to create businesses, not just employ yourself, but employ millions others?
What Kenya needs is a business environment that money circulates, fair taxes, punished corruption, and a government that fears the people, not one that tries to buy them off with World Bank debts.
What we are doing as Kenya today, we are trying to cure economic problems with political management.
Mr. President should know that the youth of this country are not for sale. Hashtag Ruto must go is not going anywhere. And Kasongo must know that we will never forget, and we refuse to forget.
May we never forget. Because seemingly, all of a sudden, ghafla bin vu, kufumbua na kufumbua, politicians wamekuwa wazuri. Kugeuka hivi, wamekuwa wazuri. Ati hatukatwi tax. Ati sijui I am sorry. Sijui I apologize. Guys, may we never forget. Never. Hata tukiwatoa, may we never forget. Ndo siku moja tusiwahi warudisha.
Subscribe.